Hello there, second graders. It's Miss Hess. How's everybody doing out there? Hope you're doing great. So, I was speaking with your second grade teachers, and they told me that you guys are going to be studying Mount Rushmore this week. So, I wanted to record a video for you with an electronic book that I always get from my Mac and Via site that we all have access to, right? So you guys can go into Mac and Via at any time and find a whole bunch of different electronic books. So remember, once you log in, you just go over here and click on eBooks. So what I did today, when I heard you were studying Mount Rushmore, I put Mount Rushmore in the search, and I was able to find 4 books that are related to Mount Rushmore. Okay, so the first 3 are all nonfiction books, and the last one is a fiction book that has the setting of the story at Mount Rushmore. So I thought you might enjoy further reading, possibly. Okay, so today I chose this one. It's a pretty simple text. So if you're a good, strong reader and interested in this topic, you could, actually this one was a really good book. Maybe you would want to look at this one by Susan Kohler if you want to do some further reading. Okay? So I'm going to click on the top of the screen and start the book that I wanted to share with you today. So it's called U.S. Symbols, Mount Rushmore. Okay? And we have our table of contents, which tells us what we're going to be reading about within the book. There's 4 chapters, but they're extremely short, as you will see. They're not hard. And it tells us, where we can find our glossary and index and additional resources always. Okay, chapter 1, Mount Rushmore. The faces of 4 presidents look out for Mount Rushmore. They are carved into the rock. They were carved into the rock many years ago. Now, you guys notice how this word carved is, it's in color, right? It's the same color as the bold title of the chapter. So what do you think that's a special color for? You guessed it, it's a vocabulary word. So you have to click it. And sometimes you have to click it a couple of times. There we go. So that on that second click, I was able to get the little menu up here. So if you click on this one that has the letters on there, that's the dictionary. So it tells us what carve means. And it will even pronounce it for you. Carve. Okay, carve is a verb that means to cut with care, to make or get by cutting, or to slice and serve. So it's probably the first 2 meanings for what we're reading, right? Okay, so then we go back here. Okay, they were carved into rock many years ago. And the caption for this picture says, each face is the size of a 6-story building. So, and I read in another book that each one of the president's heads is 60 feet tall. Holy mackerel. That is very big. Okay? Mount Rushmore is in the Black Hills of South Dakota. The monument was meant to represent America, freedom, and democracy. So once again, there's our vocabulary words. We can click on it. So now it's not. There it is. Boy, I had to click a bunch of times. Don't get frustrated. Don't give up. Persistence counts, right? So represent means it's a verb, to portray, to be a sign or symbol of. Big time, right? Symbol of the U.S., Mount Rushmore. To act for or in place of. Okay, that's what represent means. Okay. So, and democracy, that's the kind of government that we have. I'm not going to click on every vocabulary word, but you can when you read through the book, okay? Okay, and already we're to chapter 2. Chapter 2, history. The Black Hills belonged to the Lakota Indians, but the U.S. government took the land when it discovered gold in the area. Okay, so, a long time ago, this land belonged to the Lakota Indians. And then the government took the land when they found out there was gold. What do you think about that? You think that's fair? Okay, so over here, did you guys notice these QR codes? So for instance, if you're reading this electronic book and you have a smartphone, you could go ahead and scan that QR code and go on another branch of discovery about this topic. Kind of cool, right? Okay. Gutzon Borglum was the sculptor of the monument. He wanted Mount Rushmore to show the first 150 years of U.S. history. Gutzon Borglum. Wow. That's an interesting name, isn't it? And there is a sculpture of him. Oh, did you see this? Gutzon Borglum, sculpted by his son Lincoln Borglum. So his son did that. That's very cool. Workers began carving after the 4 faces were chosen. They used dynamite to blow up the rock. Then they drilled and chiseled the faces into the mountain. Okay? Chisel. Great, with tools. That's chiseled. It took hundreds of workers more than 6 years to carve the faces. Yes, that's just the faces. And I read in another place that it took them 14 years to complete Mount Rushmore, and 400 men worked on that project. That's a long time and a lot of manpower, right? Okay, and chapter 3, the faces, the 4 faces. I know you were wondering, who are those guys up on Mount Rushmore? You probably recognize them, though. So, George Washington is the far left face. He was the first U.S. president. Thomas Jefferson is next. He helped the country grow. Theodore Roosevelt is third. He helped the country become a world leader. Abraham Lincoln is on the far right. He held the country together during its Civil War. And let's go ahead and click on Civil War and see what the definition is for us. Okay. Let's see if I can drag this over. There we go. Okay. Civil War. Civil war is a noun, a war between opposing groups of citizens of the same country. So it was North versus the South of the U.S. during the Civil War. All right, that doesn't give us a whole lot of detail on that definition, but that's okay. Chapter 4, Standing Proud. Visitors walk under the flags of all 50 U.S. states on their way to Mount Rushmore. People from all over the world come to see the 4 presidents. Okay, it must be really amazing to see it in person. I would really love to travel there someday to see it. Mount Rushmore does not represent the American Indians whose land was taken. But the monument does show the United States can be a welcoming place for all people. And what do we call this right here on this page? What is that called? You guessed it. You know your text features, second graders. It's called a timeline, right? So it started in 1927. The first carving begins. Okay, and then the first guy who was done was George Washington. That happened in 1930. So, okay, math brains, how many years did that take? 3 years. Good. And then the second head, Thomas Jefferson's, was finished in 1936. Wow, how long did that take? 6 years. I wonder why, and that would be interesting to research, why did President Washington's head only take 3 years, and then Thomas Jefferson's head take 6 years to carve? That would be interesting to know. And then, in 1937, 1 year later, Abraham Lincoln was finished. 1 year? They must have been getting really good and proficient at their carving by then, right? How does one guy take 6 years and the other guy take 1 year? I don't know. I want to research that. I really do. Okay, and then in 1939, that's when President Roosevelt's head was finished, and that took 2 years, right, math brains? Okay. And then in 1941, they said all the carving on Mount Rushmore is complete. Okay, very interesting, right? Okay, so at the end of the book, we have our making connections. And you can think about some of these questions. If you could choose someone to be carved on a mountain, who would you choose and why? That's a really cool question. I like that question a lot. I was thinking, for myself, who would that be? I think for me, I would like to see President Obama. He was my favorite president in my lifetime. He was my favorite guy. And I could think of lots of good reasons why. I think he was just a really good president. And I could talk about that all day, but I won't take up time with that here. And then text-to-text connections. What other symbols have you read about? What do they stand for? Can you think of any other symbols that we use to represent the United States? So, like when you see Mount Rushmore, it's like, yes, that is the U.S. Can you think of another one right offhand that really, stands for the U.S.? Statue of Liberty, right? That's a symbol. How about our flag, right? We could probably, if we get going, we could probably think of many symbols that stand for the United States. And then I've already asked you this third question. Why does it matter that the government took land from the Lakota Indians? That is a very deep question. We could talk about that for a long time in a discussion. Why does it matter? Is it okay to take something that doesn't belong to you? Yeah, history is full of interesting occurrences just like that. So it's good to really think about, okay, this happened, and is that okay? And then what lessons could we learn about in the future, from what happened, Okay. So, and there's our glossary, and those were the words that were colored in bold that we could click on, kind of clumsily, but it worked. And there's our index where we could look up these things and people. And then I like this. You know how we were just naming U.S. symbols a couple of minutes ago? Well, look, here's some other books in this series. I bet if you went in my ebooks on Mac and Via and looked up The Bald Eagle, you could read that book right there about it. And then the 9/11 memorial that's in New York City, Statue of Liberty, the flag, of course, the White House. So if you want to do some further reading, you can do it in Mac and Via. And I bet you guys have kind of run out of books and maybe some things to do, right? So just remember that is a great resource to read. Okay? So you guys take care, and I will see you soon. Have a good day, guys. Bye.